Good morning, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Monday, April the 13th. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing and how was your weekend? Thank you so much for being here. If you're here this morning, I would love it if you would drop a hi in the chat, drop your comments or your questions. This is a friendly, interactive place, and I'm here to do a little market analysis, do some live trading. This is educational. And if you all have any comments or questions, just drop those in the chat and we will talk about it. So let's jump right in and talk about what we're getting so far today. So we are looking at the moment, we are looking at a climb, and actually it's been climbing all night after a huge gap down. So let's zoom out here a little bit. I'm going to look at the 15-minute chart. Gavilan is here. Good morning. Good to see you. Look at our 15. What an odd 15-minute chart. Am I right? Another one of these gap and go. We've seen them many, many times. And they go both directions. We'll get a gap up and then a drop, or we'll get a gap down and then a push up. And that's exactly what we're getting right now, is a large gap down. When futures opened last night, they were down, a good 80, 85 points. And slowly all night, all they've done is climb. Take a look. It's done nothing but climb. All right, Gideon is here. Dana is here. Tatiana is here. Good morning. Thanks for saying hi, you guys. I sure appreciate it. Yeah, so here we are climbing, climbing, climbing. We are right back up to where we were on Friday. So this is Friday's market action right in here. Now I'm looking at the futures. This chart is futures, but basically it moves exactly the same as the SPY. It moves exactly the same as the SPX with one exception. That is the SPY and the futures run virtually all night, and SPX only runs regular market hours. But during the time that it's actually running, you will see that they're right in lockstep with each other, SPY, SPX, and ES. So you can chart any or all of them. Okay, so here again, we're talking about this run up. We're right back to where we were on Friday. And that has been a very bullish move. We've had a bullish move over the last several I guess about almost a week and a half now. It's been bullish. Let's take a look at the SPX on the daily, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And this, in spite of the fact that the talks broke down between Iran and the United States. There were some peace talks. Those ceasefire agreements, types of things, agreement could not be reached. J.D. Vance, our vice president, was in Islamabad with some Iranian representatives, and they apparently went at it for 21 hours. There were some reports that it became very, very heated. But after 21 hours, they called it quits, and there is no ceasefire, no agreement. So we are back to square one. Oil bounced after that. We saw oil, sweet crude, come up. I saw it last night, get as high as 105. It may have been higher, but that's the highest I saw it. And we saw this futures just dive, just come tumbling down. And yet here we are with this climb. So here is our SPX on the 15-minute. This is our S&P 500 chart. Excuse me, on the 15-minute. So you can see here, last night, let me zoom in for you. It'll be a little bit more clear. Davina Restrapo, good morning. Thank you for joining. And let's see, I know who you are. That's going to be Patty. Good morning, Patty. I love Davina. I love that name. Craig is here. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see this gap that I'm talking about. Several gaps, really, that we've seen over the last week and a half. But today's gap, I'm going to zoom in on for you. I'm watching something right here, watching these puts here. Val is here. Good morning. We're just getting this little pullback here after a decent climb. We're just starting to get a little pullback here, right in through here on this minute chart. Okay, so here is our gap. And if we zoom in, like from, zoomed out, it just doesn't look like much, but let's zoom in a little bit here. This is our 15-minute chart. This is Friday's action on the S&P 500. This is today's action, of course. We closed on this candle right here, 68.17 on the SPX, and opened today at 68.06. So drop down, gap down, and then immediately pulled it back up. That's been the business all day. Pull that back up, fill the gap, get back into Friday's range. It's exactly what they've done. It's what they're doing. That's where we're at. So let's get over to our minute chart and see about trading this. I'm going to go back to my futures. All right. So just kind of not really dropping, mostly climbing all morning. Tiny little pullbacks. We've traded a couple of those, traded a couple of these pullbacks here, but mostly we're climbing this morning. That we are, right now, the charts are bullish. So I don't have a strong indication of where we're going today. My best guess is going to be we try to stay roughly where we're at, inside of a range. That's what I think they'll try to do today. My second best guess would be we would come down, and the third guess is that we're going to head up even farther. And honestly, I don't have a strong sense in any direction. I think anything could happen. All right, we are moving down here on a little bit of an elevated volume bar, so that's good. We've got our VIX just under 20, sitting at 19.89, just under 20. It has been up over 20 today. Right now, the VIX is still slightly elevated, 3% so far on the day. That's not much for the VIX. The VIX can move much, much more than that. Let's look at our leaderboard. Oil, of course, at the top. Sweet crude sitting up at $102. That is elevated. It's up 6%. Brent is up almost 6%. This is one of the rare days where we've seen oil move up at the same time as the market. That's a little bit unusual. Since this conflict started, oil and stocks have been inversely correlating very, very closely. As oil dropped, the market went up. As oil went up, the market dropped. So they've been very, very correlated since this whole conflict began. And with good reason, because oil really affects the economy of the whole globe, not just the United States. Everybody is affected by this price in oil, by this elevated price in oil. So as this conflict drags on, we will continue to see oil and the markets kind of affect each other. Okay. So as far as what is going on here, we do have the Dow is down today about 0.5%. We've got the SPX, us, we are sitting right on our flat line. We really haven't gone too far, although we did get a nice little push up here to our overnight high. But we still haven't gone very, very far. We're just barely over our flat line, just about 5 points. And when I say flat line, what I mean is where we closed the previous day, in this case, Friday. I call that the flat line because that is where we measure the points up or down. So right now we're 6 points, 5 points over the flat line, meaning over where we closed on Friday. So we are just kind of hovering there. The Qs are up a little bit better than we are, about 0.2%. All right, there's another little climb here. And the Russell is up 0.2%, 0.25. So most of MACD, or most of the Magnificent Seven is looking pretty good today. We've got some laggers. We've got Amazon down about 0.3, Meta down about 0.4, Apple down 1%. And then, so we've got kind of a split, divided house today when it comes to the Magnificent Seven. We've got the Microsoft up 2%, Tesla up 0.7, Nvidia up 0.4, Google up 0.4. So yeah, kind of a divided showing here on the Magnificent Seven. The mags as a whole, as an ETF, are only up about 0.2%. All right, Val is here. Did I say hi already, Val? I hope I did. All right. Are we interested in, what are we interested in? Well, we've made a little top here at the overnight high. We just rejected off of it. Eric is here. Good morning, Eric. Welcome. Beltran. Hi, Mel. I'm looking for a mentorship. Welcome so much, Beltran. I am actually on every day at this time at 11 a.m. and I do as much teaching and training as I can do here. Diane is here. Good morning, Diane. But if this is your email, Beltran, I will reach out to you, okay? I've got you at Beltran7555. I'll reach out there if that works for you. And thank you for joining and for your interest. All right, Freaky is here. Good morning. YouTube updated the Android app and blocks the chat menu with the back button. Oh, of course they did. Sorry to hear that, Freaky, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome. All right, another little brightening, tiny brightening up of the MACD here. We might consider puts here. I'm thinking about it. Now, if I did take puts, I would probably take the 681s. I'm not in them yet. But I'm looking. All right. Gavilan, it's a great place to be. Well, I'm glad y'all are here. All right, so no put at this moment, just kind of watching. What we're doing right now is kind of with this upward move and building, looks like building a bit of a top, so nothing too bearish yet. So I'm not ready for puts right this moment, but I am watching. If we start rolling down and the MACD brightens up again, we kind of break this little sideways range that we've been in. Otherwise, we could consider calls here. Let's see. The only issue that I have with calls is this overhead overnight high. So I want to be careful jumping in here until we actually break up through that. And by that time, it might be too late to get in. So we might miss that trade. Just kind of sideways. Nothing yet. All right, MACD's getting brighter, but we haven't quite broken this little range in here. So these are the areas we always have to be careful of. This is sideways at this moment. Even though we've kind of been moving up for sure, right now, this is sideways. So this is where we have to be careful. So maybe a break of this bottom here, we consider that put kind of right in through here, or a break of this overnight high. And either one, by the time it breaks, either one might be too late. We might miss the move. So let's see. So MACD is kind of just trying to get brighter here, but we're not really going anywhere just yet. And I did switch up my charts just a little bit. Hopefully it didn't throw you. I moved the VIX down here right under the SPY. And then I put the SPX over here. So hopefully all I did is flip flop these two. Hopefully that didn't throw you too much. The VIX is down here now. Now just hovering, not going anywhere. Okay. Zoom in a bit here and take a look at these candles. They're little. They're not giving us much movement for sure. All right, so here's our kind of current bottom down here at 679.5 on the SPY. Here's a little move down. There we go. Getting some movement here. No break at the bottom yet. Trying to hold. You can see it right here. Just trying to hold. We need a good break. And all they've been doing for the last hour is just these teeny little candles. It's been hard to trade for sure. Very small movements. There we go. So the VIX is, like I said, just kind of sitting under 20. It has been over 20 today, but right now VIX doing the same thing as the market, of course, doing this sideways movement here. So since about 10:25 Eastern. So for about an hour, we've been moving pretty sideways here. But overall, you can see, if we zoom out, you can see the VIX overall is dropping. So we had a high today on the VIX of about 20, looks like 20.7. Yep, 20.71. But kind of doing a continuous drop. So what we need to see is this range break on the VIX and on the SPY. Once one breaks, the other will as well. Hard to trade until we get that direction. All right, little bounce here. So this is why we wait, right? It felt during here like we probably could have traded that, but these moves were very small. The candles were little, and there was a bottom right here. We could have traded it, but honestly, it's not, the risk isn't worth it because of this range. And what did it do? It just bounced right back. So it's not really going anywhere. It's just giving us chop. That's what it's doing. So we just have to be patient. Let's see if we can get back down to this bottom again. The VIX sorry, the MACD is a little bit negative, but we haven't really gone anywhere. So again, this bottom here or here is what I want to see. I want to see that come down to this bottom before I really feel confident about puts. And then for calls, I really want to see it break this overnight high before I feel confident. And honest truth, either way, if we break the bottom or break the top, it could be that we missed that move, and that's okay. That does happen that way sometimes. All right, Gavilan would like me to read the time. Sure, of course. It is 11:22 and 58 seconds, Gavilan Eastern Time. Thanks for the question. And let me know what your delay is. It is common to have about a 5-second delay. We can't get away from that on YouTube, but if it's a whole bunch more than that, you might want to think about refreshing your browser. All right, Craig has got a 5-second delay. That's perfect, Craig. That's perfect. I mean, it's not perfect. We would love to have real time, but as far as delays go, that's about the best we can get. Gavilan has 5 seconds. All right, great. Glad to hear it. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. It helps me a lot because when you guys, when I'm taking trades, obviously I'm taking those for educational purposes. But, if anyone does follow those trades, it's hard to do that when the gap is too big, when that lag is too long, right? All right. Craig's saying delay is reduced once one hits the thumbs up. You got a funny sense of humor, Craig. I always appreciate your support. Thumbs up would be amazing, and I would appreciate it. That would help me because I want to grow this channel. Gavilan. That's funny. Okay. So still sideways. Let's take a look at our daily chart on the on the SPX, because that, when we're not sure what's going on, it's always good to zoom out and try to get the bird's eye view. That'll help us try to kind of figure out what is the market thinking, what's it doing. All right, we are at this bottom again here on the minute chart. So I'm watching this while we are also looking at the daily. And again, if we come down and bust through here, we might consider, all right, it's moving a little bit here. That's good. That's good. Got a little movement. We haven't tested the VWAP even once today, guys. That's unusual. Now the VWAP is a good bit below us. It's all the way down here at 678. We are currently trading at 679. I mean, that seems like a long way, but because the movements are little, it's actually not that far. It does seem that way. But we haven't tested it even once today. Take a look. Here's the VWAP. That stands for the volume weighted average price. You can see that it's moving up. The VWAP's trending up, as is the price, because that's what it does. It's an average, but it also takes into consideration volume, and it adjusts. The VWAP gets adjusted by volume. So it's measuring average price and adjusting it, making allowance for volume. So we can usually we can expect that the VWAP acts like somewhat of a magnet. Sometimes you'll see price kind of drawn to the VWAP, or sometimes it's repelled off of the VWAP. So you'll see sometimes, like here, we didn't quite test it, but you'll see price come down and test it and bounce, or you'll see price, kind of snake over and under it. Or you'll see it come down and then come back up to it. So all kinds of different movements, but price is usually pretty drawn to the VWAP. And so today we have not tested it. I expect that we should at least get a test of the VWAP today. We don't have to. There are days that we don't, but they're rare. They're rare. So I would like to see us come down here and test this, but so far we just haven't been able to. And again, we are still holding this little bottom so far. No breakdown through it. Between here, right in here, 679.3 and 679.4, right in this area is where we want to see that break to the downside if it's going down. Diane laughing. Okay, so let's take a look at our daily charts. You guys know we review this almost every single session, and I think it's important. We always have to zoom out and get the big picture. What's the big picture here? We have, over the last couple of years, been on a crazy bull run. And then what happened? We started right in through here, making a rounded top, getting some slowdown. We hit our all-time high at 7,002. That happened, what day was that? The 3rd of February. So we sort of came up here to this all-time high. We've been in a range for a long, long time, coming all the way back here to October. We've really been in this range for a long time. We busted down through it over here in November, recovered it, and stayed in that range until we broke down through it again over in here, which was the beginning of March. So we had this big slide. We came down 10% from this all-time high. We came all the way down, and then we found a bottom and took a hard turn to the upside. This is what we call a V-shaped recovery, because it's a V, right? It's making a letter V, moving down, moving up, V-shaped recovery. But where are we getting resistance? We are getting resistance right in this most highly trafficked area. Do you see it? I'll zoom in. I turned the major resistance line yellow so we could really see it. This highly trafficked area right in through here is sitting at 68 and 50. So 6,850 on the SPX. You can see our candle from Friday tapped it, just knocked on the door and then retreated. Today we gapped down, but we're trying to hold it up. Are they going to hold it up, or are we going to start to move down? I find it really hard to believe, with oil sitting where it's at, with geopolitical tensions sitting where they're at, with labor issues in this country, with inflation issues. I find it very hard to believe that we're just going to keep up this climb, but I don't have to be right. This is just my big picture analysis. I think we should start to make another leg down. We don't have to. We can continue on up and tag a brand new all-time high if that's what the market chooses to do. And guess what? The market is always right. You can be wrong when you're analyzing the market, but as a great trader once said, you can't stay wrong. So if we make a decision about where we think the market is going and we're wrong and we're trading on it, well, we better get on the side of the market because the market is always right and it does not matter how long this market stays irrational. And that's another one of my favorite quotes is that the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So we can sit here and stare at this chart and say, this is impossible, this is impossible. The market's being irrational. But guess what? The market's always right and it can stay rational longer than we can remain solvent, meaning you can't trade against it. You got to trade with it. And so that's what I try to teach you here on this channel is on a very small time frame, how do we trade with the market? Sometimes I do take counter trend trades, but mostly I am trying to trade with the market. I want to be on the side of the market. The market's always right. So that is what our daily is looking like, a V-shaped recovery right now. We hit an overhead resistance in a most heavily trafficked zone, and we got a little pullback. It's not huge, and we got a gap down today. So we need to see how this candle forms today. That's going to be very, very important. How does this candle form today? Do we continue to drop down and close it red? Do we continue to push up and close it green? Do we sit here in a little sideways movement and make it a doji? We don't know yet. We have to watch it. All right. So we are still getting just this little baby drop, but look at, we just tagged this bottom here and are trying to hold it. We're trying to hold it right here. Let's see if we can continue down. Let's get back over to the minute chart on the futures. All right, tiny little candles, not going anywhere. Our VIX is slowly climbing. So that is matching up with what the market is doing, giving us a slow, tiny drop, slow, tiny climb. We are at 20 on the VIX. And remember, in terms of the big picture on the VIX, that's fairly elevated. And so when we see the VIX at 20 or above, we do need to be paying attention because there is heightened volatility. All right, Freaky Turkey had 5% on that drop and it pulled up as I pressed the sell for a break even. That is frustrating, but you know what? At least it was a break even. So great job trading that and you didn't take a loss. So good job. All right, Diane, awesome, Freaky. Yes, absolutely. Thanks for being so encouraging, Diane. All right, holding right here, holding this little bottom, not doing anything yet. And as you highlighted, Freaky, the trades are challenging when the candles are this small. You're getting tiny little wins, 5%. It's really what I've taken today, a couple of 5%, an 8%. So nothing big, because really for a long time, the candles are just kind of making small moves. And when they do that, we don't make much money on it. We make more money when the candles are moving a little bit more aggressively. All right, Diane, forgot to follow up regarding suggestions for learning material, going through Thinkorswim's lessons on options and watching videos. I think that's a great place to start, Diane. Very, very good place to start. And there are tons of good videos also on YouTube. So any of those, learning resources, I trust. Of course, I trust Thinkorswim. They have a ton of videos. So great place to start, Diane. So hard to cut off for break evens. It is, isn't it? It really is. I agree. All right. No breakdown yet. Still sideways. Silver down pretty good today at 3%. Gold down at 1% negative. We've got Bitcoin, which did move down today, did it? Where is it? Where's my Bitcoin? I swear things disappear off of my, there it is. Off of my watch list. Things disappear all the time. There's Bitcoin down 2% today, but still hovering in this 71, 72,000 area. So that's been a little bit of a recovery almost for Bitcoin. It really needs to break out over 75 to the upside. I feel pretty confident that will happen this year. I think we're going to get a nice move up in Bitcoin this year. Who knows when? They've been pulling it sideways for a long time, but it does seem to have found some footing. All right, Eric, there are tons of good videos. My favorites are with Ross Cameron. There are also tons of bad videos. I like Ross Cameron a lot. He's a straight shooter. He's a good guy. He trades differently than I do, but I would recommend learning some basic options. That's a really good place to start. And usually you can't go wrong with those videos. Any kind of basic options videos is a great place to start. Love Russ's videos. Good, good, good. All right, little pop here. I'm going to take a quick look at our gamma. $10.59. Mm-hmm. Okay, giving us a little push here off this bottom. So we did not really trade that because we really didn't break the bottom. We're just backing up into the range again. All right, so for today's expiration, we are just barely in positive gamma, just barely by about 200 million. Seems like a lot, but usually our gamma placements are in the billions. So we've got $5.6 billion in put gamma, $5.8 billion in call gamma for a net positive gamma of 240 million. All right, here's a nice pop here. Do we want to consider calls? Do we have enough room at the top to make that risk worth it? Let's see what we get here. That was a pretty long upper wick there, wasn't it? So the signals are saying we could take a call. If I took a call, I'd be looking at the 680 strike for today's expiration. That is the first strike in the money. And if I did that, that would be for educational purposes only. If you follow at your own risk. This is just me showing you how I do it, how I take trades, when I take trades, and what I'm thinking about. I'm going to try, well, let's see. Let's watch this candle. It's opening red, so I'm going to give it a minute. All right. It's just moving so slowly. No, I'm not in it. I'm not in it yet. We do have enough room, I think, to make the risk worth it, but we're right here in the middle of the range. And it's given us a little bit of hesitation here. All right. Freaky saying they handle the retaliatory next candle in the same candle. It's wild when they do those big wicks. Sometimes those are hard to know what's going on. All right, there we go. Moving down. That was a quick, fast move there. But again, we're still in range. That's the biggest problem here for picking a trade. That's the biggest problem we're having is this range. And we're just sitting at our flat line, which is another issue, meaning we're just not making a decision to get over Friday's close. We just haven't really done that, but a little bit, right? Just a couple of points over Friday's close, not much. And right now, looks like they might be pulling it right back under. So that's a bull bear fight for who basically are we going to pull it down under Friday's close or are we going to beat Friday's close? And that is important. How that looks on the chart, on the daily chart matters. And so that's kind of the fight we're having right here. That's why this range is getting built out, is we are trying to decide if we're going up over Friday's close or we're coming back down under it. It's feeling a little bit more bearish right now. Back down to our recent low, sitting right here at 679.3. We're real close to it. The MACD is rolling over. I would be looking at 680 puts if we were going to get a put here. Really needs to break this bottom before we take a put. And again, if you keep an eye on that daily candle, I'll pull it up here in a minute, you'll see how it kind of changes its personality throughout the day. That's important to kind of gauge. It'll help you get a bigger view of what the market is trying to do. As you kind of watch the way they're forming that daily, it will help. All right, coming back down. Just a little breakthrough here would be great. The MACD is rolling over. No break yet. No conviction at all right now. Hmm. All right, Diane, I have to head out early. Great being here again. Happy Monday. So good to see you here. Thanks for joining, Diane. And we'll be back again tomorrow at 11 Eastern. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. All right, nothing much here. A little bit of a break, possibly. Back to this bottom again. And absolutely no test of the VWAP yet. Starting to get a little bit of a negative read. But again, what I want is this bottom to break right here. It just doesn't want to, does it? It's really holding. It's really holding on. All right. Getting a little closer. There we go. Come on. All right, if we get another bounce here and the MACD rolls, we could consider the calls. We did have that strong volume push on that green candle with that tall upper wick. So let's see if we turn and push it upward. Not yet. And our VIX is moving up a little bit. We're still sitting right here at 20, 19.97, but pretty close to 20. I think they're going to try to hold this bottom. That's what it's feeling like. Here we are again. Let's see what our Mag 7's doing. Just sitting there. Everyone's just sitting here sideways right now. Nobody's really moving anywhere. I don't know if they're going to break it. I think they might try to bounce it from here. And if they do that, I think we'll take calls. Just chomping on liquidity. Pac-Man, munch, 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 just going sideways. All right. I'm thinking about some calls here at the 679 level. I'm not in them because we are still testing this bottom, but I'm thinking that they might, if they don't break the bottom, they're going to push it up. So it's one way or the other here. Looking a little bouncy. Let's see. Oracle is up crazy today, almost 9%. That's a big jump on Oracle. Oh, and let's talk about earnings. Earnings season is starting. Always starts out with the banks first. JP Morgan reported today, beat expectations. We get another 4 banks tomorrow. I think Citi, Goldman Sachs. I'll have to go look and see. Wells Fargo maybe. But another 4 banks will report tomorrow. And then slowly we'll start moving into the tech reports, the tech earnings. Those are going to be important to watch for sure. So we'll be watching that. Let me take a quick look at the economic calendar. So today we had the existing home sales, and that was down, of course, that makes sense. Down from 4.1 million to 3.9 million. Tomorrow we're going to get PPI. That's a big deal. Core PPI and PPI. That is the producer price index. That one gives us the idea of wholesale prices. That gives us an idea of wholesale prices. All right, let's get back over here. Giving us a little bounce here. So PPI will come out before the market opens tomorrow. So remember that. If you are one who likes to take overnight trades, always be careful when we have data coming out, because that can really affect how the market opens. So we'll see PPI. That's one of the reports that the Feds use. All right, we're getting a bounce here. I might consider the calls here. We're getting a little baby turn on the MACD. Getting a little drop on the VIX. And it's just kind of hovering here. My goodness, could this thing move any slower? This is like watching paint dry here. No real movement whatsoever. This is very hard to trade, that's for sure. No trading for me right now. This is dangerous area because you get stuck in one of these trades and all they do is just pull you sideways and chew up your theta, or they reverse it on you. So you got to be careful of this type of environment. But again, back to PPI, if you're one who likes to hold overnight trades, be careful when we've got big data like PPI. That is, like I said, one of the tools that the Feds uses, one of the reports the Feds use to monitor inflation. So the CPI is our consumer price index. The PPI is our producer price index. One measures, of course, retail consumption. The other measures the wholesale consumption or prices that the wholesale is paying. So those are important reports. All right, Eric, what's worse, watching paint dry or grass grow? I prefer to watch grass grow. It smells better, and it's usually sunny when that's happening. Paint drying smells just like chemical. But it's a great question, Eric. What would we rather? It's all about the same in this type of market. Just barely, it looks like little, you can see, right? Little blades of grass growing on these candles. All right. No trade yet. Just nothing. Look at this. Nothing. Literally 3 points movement in the last, what, 15 minutes? 3 points of movement. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. So let's take a look at our volume because there's just nothing happening on either side right now. I do feel like it wants to give us a little jump here. I'm kind of waiting for that. I still have those calls loaded. All right, we've got higher volume on the call side sitting at the 680 strike, followed very closely by puts at the 679 strike. Well, that would make sense because that's just where we're toggling back and forth and back and forth. Looks to me like cumulatively the puts are beating the calls today, but I could be wrong. Yeah, looks like the puts are beating the calls today. Okay, back down to the bottom of the range. There we go. Come on, let's break this. Let's break it. All right, little movement here. When you say points, Mel, what are you referring to? Great question, Eric. On the SPY, they're not really points. They're more like cents, but they equate to the SPX, and those I count as points. Okay, hold on a second here. Wow. Unbelievable. All right, coming down and breaking the bottom. That is what we wanted to see. Some movement, some direction. All right, so let's see what they do with this here. This is a break at the bottom. Could we trade that to the downside? Maybe, but it's been a very long, tired move. And this is what I was saying. By the time we break it, does it make sense to trade it? I don't know. Let's watch and see, I think. If I did look at puts, it would be the 680s. 680 puts. Or we just wait for a reversal to the upside. But back to your question, Eric, what I mean is when we're looking at the SPY, it's these cents, right? So it's SPY is roughly 10% of the value of the SPX. So the SPX is currently trading at $6,815. The SPY is currently trading at $679, roughly 10% of the value of the SPX. When I see the decimal point in my head, I am thinking in terms of points on the SPX. So 0.1 on the SPY equates to 1 point, $1 on the SPX. In other words, 10 cents on the SPY equates to $1 on the SPX. And so I'm always thinking in terms of points on the SPX. That's how, for whatever reason, that's how my brain does it. I track this SPX in my head all the time. And so any movement on the SPY, I'm just going to multiply that by 10, and I'm going to get the equivalent move on the SPX. Hopefully that makes sense, Eric. My brain works in odd ways. All right, we're getting a jump here. I am going to load these calls at the 679 strike. Not ready to get in just yet, but I'm feeling like we might get a reversal here. So let's watch this. Okay, not yet. $66.55 calls. Really? Okay. All right, Gideon, do you think we might be on the way down to test the VWAP first? Well, we're getting close, aren't we, Gideon? You're not wrong. We are getting close. But I'm not going to trade that. It is possible. But because the move has been kind of old, I'm not going to try it. I'm going to wait for a reversal to the upside. Dana saying it's 5 minutes after. Thanks, Dana, for keeping me on track there. It is See how much fun I have when I'm with you all? We are at the end of this stream and we did not take a trade, which is a bummer, but okay, there we go. Watch for this to pull back down. I'm going to go ahead and trade those calls. That's educational only. If you choose to follow, you do it at your own risk. This is, all right, I'm in it right now for 23%, 31%, 28%. I'm out, punch it at 28% gain. That was fun. Okay, that was our trade. I don't know if anyone was even able to follow that. It was super fast, big candle there. But I will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. It was a super long wait for a really fast trade, but we'll be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Remember PPI in the morning. Craig said, awesome. And Craig said, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks, guys. I do appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind, that would be great. All right, you all. So again, I'm feeling more up than down today at this point. Now keep your eye on the daily candle and watch how it forms, but I'm feeling a little bit more either sideways or possibly even up. But let's just keep watching and see what happens. Trade what's in front of you guys. This is a tricky day, so be careful. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much. We'll be back again tomorrow. See you at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Bye for now, everyone.